to the Housing Network of Rhode Island for bringing us all together around a critical issue facing our state, the governor's recently proposed dollars for the housing bond. We're glad to see that the governor has certainly proposed the largest bond that Rhode Island has ever seen, $100 million. However, not all of those funds are proposed to be used for affordable housing production, and those of us that have been in this work and know what the reality is in terms of need also realize that $100 million just isn't enough to be able to meet the myriad of housing challenges in our current housing crisis. We have weaknesses and substantial gaps in the Ocean State's housing system, more than we have had for decades. Contributing to this remarkable state of affairs is that today's rental market is grossly unaffordable. The current 2023 Housing Factbook by Housing Works shows that a household needs an income of more than $100,000 in 38 out of 39 municipalities. Nearly half of all renters spend more than 30% of their income on housing. Unfortunately, the problem seems to be worsening in the last year. Home prices in Rhode Island have increased 7.5%, and rents have skyrocketed, with Providence reportedly having the highest rent increase nationwide. We're seeing rising levels of unsheltered Rhode Islanders in recent months. Many unhoused residents say that they used to live in an apartment, but due to rising rents, they cannot afford an apartment in today's market. Rhode Island's housing affordability problem has resulted primarily from a lack of housing production over quite a long period of time. Historically, Rhode Island has invested relatively little state funding toward affordable housing compared to other New England states, significantly lower than its neighbors Connecticut and Massachusetts. In comparison, for example, from my home state of Massachusetts, $800 million was their housing bond. It is a huge difference. The current housing market is not sufficient to meet the demand. Rhode Island housing officials recently estimated that the state needs to build an average between 2,200 and 3,087 new housing units each year to maintain the status quo. However, these numbers do not necessarily improve housing affordability. High housing costs are exacerbating our homeless system, and despite increased shelter beds and emergency shelter options, which we're grateful for, we are still not meeting the demand. Rhode Islanders experiencing homelessness are staying in shelters or staying unsheltered longer due to a lack of permanent housing supply. In particular, we know that funding to support our subsidized housing for extremely low income and low income families will help alleviate the impact to the already overly taxed homelessness system. More affordable housing options mean we can move people up the ladder, exiting shelter status to housing. This means we can reduce the number of households living outside, thus saving lives and building community. Housing has a trickle-down effect where it supports our economics and reducing healthcare costs, provides more revenue for local cities and towns, and allows our communities to thrive by helping our neighbors. So we believe that $100 million is just not enough to support actual housing affordability. And again, while $100 million is a good start, more money will be needed to truly change the trajectory in homelessness and the trends that we have seen over the past few years. While the $150 million housing bond that we are proposing today is still short on what is needed to address all of our affordable housing needs, it will begin the process of moving in the right direction to ensure that all Rhode Islanders are able to reside in safe, healthy, and affordable homes. This is a transformational investment in not only our neighbors, but our communities, our state. Without greater state investment, Rhode Island is unlikely to see much progress. We can do better, so join us in supporting the state in making larger investments in affordable housing. If Rhode Island is going to continue to be a place where people live, work, and raise a family, we need a collective effort to make sure that all Rhode Islanders have an affordable place to live.